fuck's sake. Alcoholics, man. All right, let's talk about Brexit. So, one of the things I was looking forward to from the standpoint of Brexit was a debate between Jeremy Corbyn and Theresa May. Now, Theresa May's government has just been found in contempt, something that has never happened before in British history. A conservative government found in contempt because it wouldn't publish the legal advice that Parliament told it to publish. Instead, it wanted to publish kind of a summary I think it was like 40-something pages, when the real legal advice was like 1,300 pages long. It was like over 1,000 pages. So they found her government in contempt, a shameful, embarrassing display. Her own cabinet is telling her to pull back that Brexit vote. She's had all sorts of people in her cabinet resign. Boris Johnson, in this big splashy resignation. The dream of Brexit is dying. This deal is the worst of both worlds. If you're going to put a deal through like this, you might as well have just stayed in the European Union. That said, she's selling the deal. Zombie Prime Minister Theresa May is out there selling this deal. And in selling this deal, she says, I challenge Jeremy Corbyn to a debate. Fisticuffs, sir. Now, Jeremy Corbyn says, I gladly accept this debate. Catch. What's the format? What is the format of this debate going to be? Now, Theresa May wanted this to be held by the BBC. She loved the BBC in this case. The BBC has a history of being antagonistic to Jeremy Corbyn, and the BBC wanted to have a round robin. Now, the BBC is a conservative channel, despite it being British broadcasting, and that conservative channel was going to be able to direct the guest and the questioning in a way that could have prejudiced the dialogue in the Brexit debate against Labour. Now, Corbyn wanted just a head-to-head debate. Let's just have an honest conversation and debate about Brexit. That's more of a straightforward way of getting to the nub of the matter, as opposed to having the editors of the show being able to direct and push the line of questioning. This debate is apparently off. Now, ITV, Jeremy Corbyn had accepted ITV's terms. Theresa May, not so much. Theresa May didn't want a head-to-head debate. Theresa May didn't want to just have a back and forth about Brexit in this kind of straightforward, honest way. She wanted the BBC's angle where they could essentially have panelists direct and push the dialogue. Here's the wild part about this, right here. Labour has blamed the cancellation on Mrs. May running scared of debating Mr. Corbyn, saying he would relish the opportunity to debate her, and that remains the case. A spokesman for Labour believed the head-to-head offer from ITV was the most straightforward format. It is. It's just, we're having mano a mano. A head-to-head would give viewers the greatest clarity for both speakers to get into detail. He added the Prime Minister has refused to join Jeremy Corbyn in a head-to-head debate. Her team tried to confuse people with a convoluted format. The convoluted format was going to have, from the BBC, having all these guests and everything else, asking questions and whatnot. Just have a head-to-head debate. But the British public will see for what it is. Theresa May is unable to face real scrutiny over her crumbling deal. That deal that is going to fail miserably when it comes for a debate on Tuesday. The BBC has contacted Downing Street for comment, but has not yet received a response. ITV's political editor, Robert Peston, appeared to take a swipe at Mrs. May on Twitter. Truthfully, I am surprised that a Brexit debate that was Theresa May's idea is now not happening. It does not seem in character. Theresa May wanted to have a mano a mano without having a mano a mano. The news comes as senior Tory suggested Tuesday's vote for the deal could be delayed. Earlier, there were reports that members of Theresa May's cabinet were encouraging her to put back her vote, which she is expected to lose. She's going to fail. Now, mind you, the government, we're talking about parliamentary system. In a parliamentary system, it is essentially Theresa May runs the House in this case. The DUP and the Conservatives or the Tories have enough where they can essentially run the table. She still doesn't have the votes. That bill is going to fail. She's going to lose. And just like the 3 historic losses that she took over the other thing, meaning losing the ability to force Parliament into a pressure situation of either my Mad Max Brexit, meaning no deal, or you take my Brexit, which nobody likes, has gone away. Parliament not only would get a meaningful vote, but Parliament would be able to amend and adjust if this doesn't turn out. Meaning, Parliament doesn't have to accept the no deal Brexit scenario. Parliament, if Parliament wanted to, could vote to just remain in the European Union or to set up another Brexit referendum. We have no idea what is going to happen when Theresa May loses this vote. But she is pushing in this kind of campaign style to try to get people on board. That said, the debate that was going to take place is no longer going to take place. And it looks like Theresa May is running scared from a head-to-head debate with Jeremy Corbyn. So I'm not going to keep this one long because it's, like I say, it's late. Has Jamal messed Bob Lazar having his head poked up from the spider hole? No, I have not. I have not. Bob, I've asked the guy who did the film on the show for an interview. I really wanted to see if I could get that guy on the show for an interview because that would be fascinating. Bob Lazar has a fascinating fucking story. I mean, part of that story, intelligence services put a gun to his head or something like that, or put a gun in his mouth. Like these insane stuff that was taking place. But no, I haven't missed it. I just wanted the guy who did the story to come onto the show and talk about the story. That's the only reason I haven't mentioned it yet. So, but yes, Bob, you had me at hello. And yes, I did know about it. I even tried to download the movie, but haven't got the chance. So we'll see. I really hope the guy takes up my offer for an interview. The one who actually did the story itself, who did the movie, the director of the movie, who takes me up for the opportunity to come onto the show to discuss. Bob Lazar is a fascinating story. People like to try to discredit Bob Lazar, saying he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. But fact of the matter is, Bob Lazar did work at the organization. Bob Lazar did have a degree on that stuff. Bob Lazar was able to predict when those ships was going to be in the sky. George Knapp was able to verify a lot of the information that Bob Lazar was saying, especially at least from the standpoint of his working at the organization, seeing the lights in the sky. Lear, one of the people who was close to Bob in this particular story, he's an out there guy. Let me just say it that way. He's a very out there guy. Lear, if I'm not mistaken, his dad was part of Lear Jets. Now, Lear had some insane ideas about UFO stuff that I don't necessarily buy into. But from the standpoint of Bob Lazar, when Bob Lazar contacted Lear and he was telling him, look, I've gotten into S4 base. I've gotten into this base. And in getting into this base, he would report back information to him. When they contacted George Knapp, and they told George Knapp about this, and they were standing outside when they were having these test flights and everything else. And Bob Lazar was like, look, they are working on a UFO there. They're flying that UFO, and those are craft that we are using and studying. It's fucking phenomenal. It's fucking phenomenal. But no, I haven't done a video on it yet because I haven't watched the new video, and I still have some level of hope that I can get the guy who did the movie onto the show, let alone trying to get Bob Lazar himself onto the show. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. So, no, Bob. I haven't. All right, I will end this here. If you guys enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. Got me fucking talking about UFOs. I could just walk past reporters saying, I suppose I support the president. What are y'all talking about? It's set up debate. Corbyn will go in and not come out like Shogi. Well, I think it's a setup debate if it's going through the BBC. I mean, if it's just a head-to-head debate between the two, then, let them have their argument. They should have that argument. It's the leader of the opposition having an argument with the prime minister who's trying to sell a Brexit deal that nobody likes. Jeremy Corbyn, for his instance, I would imagine that that's not a conversation that you want to have, because that would force him to come up with some kind of idea himself, when it's easier to just let Theresa May sink on her own. That said, I don't think he can turn it down. He has to take that debate, and he has to beat the stuffing out of her with that debate, regardless of what he wants to do. That said, in this particular case, he can stand by this. We want this particular format. We want this is the most fair format. It's like if you're going to the casino, you don't play any other game other than blackjack, poker, or craps, because those give you the most fair chances. If you're going into a debate with the prime minister and you have a organization that has been historically against your interests, that you want to maximize your chances by doing it in the most fair way that you can think of, and head to head is the most fair way that they can think of. So